So Jeff and I were just, this is Jay, this is Jeff. We were just talking authentically, like, wait, we need to turn the camera on. So why did I personally decide recently to lower my limiting belief of becoming a coach or stepping into that into that accepted role? We were just talking about it. He doesn't know what I do. Well, he knows what I do now, but he didn't know what I do for a long time. A lot of people don't know what I do.
Correct.
500 videos later, massive action later, online, offline. So, I would argue, a lot of people are in jobs, industries, that may not be for them. Would you say that's correct?
100%.
Okay, so we know that's almost like a law of the universe. I mean, we could go into a whole other video about people finding themselves and their purpose and what they love and they're good at. It's the same thing with coaching. A lot of people in every industry may not be specifically ready for that or in that. So I would argue if you have time, not have time, if you make the time in your life to build a company to $17 billion or 10 million or 2 million that isn't a speaking, a coaching, an information bearing, right, an educational entertainment company that add value to others, because it's something else, it's mortgages, it's real estate, it's whatever, then that's probably what you should have done. And you weren't specifically that person to be the coach, because it's something that I believe it's in you when you're born.
Agreed.
Okay.
The passion. Okay.
Well, I was against what was in me since I was born up until recently. And example, at 12 I started working out. And I started working out, I was overweight, I really hated myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't accept love. I was adopted. It really damaged me. And I appreciate all this now, obviously, so I'm who I am. But I worked out to identify, I started identifying with my physique as acceptance, right? So I started working out, losing the weight. Inevitably, what happened was, obviously, so you're putting effort into something, you're going to get results. People started asking me very young, what do you do to work out? And then every conversation became working out. Well, my personality was, to get love and acceptance, I needed attention, and from that attention, I would share.
Okay.
So I became pretty versed in sharing, like speaking and coaching and talking.
Good traits of a coach.
Yeah, helping. Yeah. So we're talking about 11 years old now. If you take that example, Warren Buffett started reading books on investing at like 10. And if you look at all these people that are really, really, really solid at what they do, Michael Jordan started playing basketball at a very young age. So it's like, well, what do you expect, right? Well, the whole life I ended up becoming a trainer and then owning a gym. But I always had this thing of, I don't want to be a trainer. I don't want to just be that.
Okay.
I want to be something else. And because I had this idea in my head that I just wouldn't be good enough if I was just that.
Okay. Is limiting?
Well, think about how limiting that is. If everyone that I've ever met has left that conversation just a little bit more positive, because I'm positive. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying everyone ever, but that's just who I am. That's what I'm looking to do.
Okay.
And not because I'm so, I'm not Jesus. It's because I get loving significance from giving, because that's how I feel like someone gives a crap. Okay. Like I know myself. That's because of my upbringing. Well, I had a limiting belief against it, and about 8 months after I took massive action online, putting value out there, because that's what is in my heart, people started asking me, like, why do you coach? Why do you coach? Why do you coach? Why do you coach? Or how do I become a coach? Because some people are like, you must be a coach. I was like, I need to give it up already and be a coach. So, and I just ran in for like 7 minutes straight, just like,
yeah, that's about right.
Right? So does that put things in perspective?
I mean, I feel a lot of times that people might fall backwards into something that they were meant to do, and you might not just be able to escape it. If it's something that you're good at, if it's something that people look to you and say, especially if other people are telling you, you should be a coach. I mean, you can't. If it's one person, it's one thing. If it's everybody, they might be seeing something. Last year,
yeah, I mean, I had someone like literally write me a check and was like, you need to coach me. And I was like, I guess I got to do it. And I still was, for 6 months after that, I had a value, like, I did what now, I just want to put this into context. What's coaching? Coaching, training, and speaking are 3 different lanes. Me just pouring my heart out, raw and authentically, and talking at you guys, that's training. It's like you're making points. Telling stories, using examples, analogies, that's what speakers do. They storytell. Right? Like me explaining this right now, that my truth, that's training. I'm giving points. Coaching is the listening part.
Yep.
It's the asking questions part. In Latin, ijukate means the answer lies within. I only get your answers when I ask you questions.
Correct.
So coaches that are in alignment with how to help people find those answers, they spend most of their time listening, helping the other person, just like a therapist.
I was going to say like a psychiatrist.
Just like a psychiatrist, same thing. It's the Socratic method, right? Ethos, pathos, logos. And they spend a small percentage of time telling stories to help plant inception or new ideas in their mind to benefit them. And very, very small percentage of time saying this is what you should do. Very, very small percentage. Now, how did I learn that? Well, obviously not out of the womb. Because out of the womb I was very loquacious, like, this conversation we're having is mostly you listening and me sharing, because that's what you asked me before we turned the camera on.
Correct.
However, most of my life before I learned what I just said, how to effectively coach, it was me talking because I'm excited and passionate and I want your love.
Okay.
Does it make sense? That was like my natural cognition and unconscious habit. So I guess the takeaway for this, and I'm sharing this personally raw with you guys and Jeff for the first time, is you may not know what your purpose is or who you are specifically or what you should do, or you may have a limiting belief over what you think you want to do. When enough people are telling you should do something, it might be worth at least thinking about what they're saying.
Definitely.
Not going by not going by the majority, but listening to what they say, because I think about all the people now that I've helped in the time that I started, how many I could have helped if I was not in my own way. This is what I'm supposed to do. And we could argue like, well, why or how, guys, it's not important. What are the results?
Yeah.
Are you helping people? Are they, your customer, your audience will tell you. Correct. So, you have anything to close that out?
I mean, you dug deep on that one.
Yeah, I just threw up all over you guys and Jeff. We didn't plan this, so he's like, wow, Jay, thanks for letting me know you're crazy.
Well, no, I knew that before.
Oh, you knew that before?
I don't want to change that, but I knew that before.
Can you relate with that?
I mean, I definitely can.
Do we have limiting beliefs? We all have limiting beliefs. I had a limiting belief.
Well, I feel like if you're lucky enough to have the opportunity to move forward in something that you're passionate about, especially something if you're good at and people are telling you, this is what your role should be, this is what you're meant to do, I think you're lucky to be able to do that. I feel a lot of people get stuck in a rut, and it's interesting when you hear the stories of like if somebody gets fired or somebody gets laid off, all of a sudden these opportunities open up, because sometimes you're just held back because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And when you're in a comfortable state, it's hard for people to move forward, which is why I always felt that when you meet a salespeople are never comfortable. You always want that next step. You always want that next deal. Some people get comfortable in other positions and they don't want to do anything else. And even if they were good at something or they had a hobby, they're not going to take that risk.
Yeah. And
I think it takes a lot for a person to take that step and take that risk to move forward in life and do something they're passionate about before you wake up. And we're in a culture where you work your whole life until you retire, and then you're old.
Yeah.
But you're saving, you're working, you're putting in 8-10 hours a day for what? To retire. You have the opportunity to enjoy life if you focus on it. And I feel like by being a coach, you can have the opportunity to help people that might be stuck or not motivated, to help them live a better life. So I think it's great.
I appreciate that. And there's one last thing that I want to add for people to get some context. And hey, maybe it's in you to be a coach. Now, I'm not saying maybe your profession, but are you planning on having children? Do you want to have stronger relationships with your friends? Well, think about it. If you spend most of your time listening to them to help them figure themselves out, like spending most of your time listening to your children,
Yeah.
Aren't we all kind of coaches in a way? Or all speakers or all trainers? Because, I mean, biology says we're going to bear children. We're going to have families. So how can we become better coaches? I align my day based on 3 things to be a better coach. I read voraciously. Whenever I'm not around another human, I'm listening to an audiobook or I'm reading a book. Why? Books don't necessarily have all the answers. You have the answers. When you read, you think. And if the answers lies within, the book is your coach because the book is making you ask the questions.
Yep.
So I do that 4 to 5 hours a day. And I can prove it. I have all the tracked. So that's my organization for the business. Like you're processing with your loans. Mm-hmm. Mine is organizing my head. The other part of my day, I spend 1 hour a day writing. I write between 1,500 and 3,000 words a day. I write 3 blogs a day. So writing also, since the caveman times, has been a natural, innate part of our humanity. I would argue we go to school and culturally we get mind screwed out of wanting to write. Mm-hmm. And we all think we're bad at it. No, we can all do it. However, that took time. So reading, writing, and speaking. Obviously, speaking in front of the camera. 475 videos filmed in the last 10 months. Interviewing dozens and dozens of amazing people that are doing awesome things. And if my mission, personally, as someone that's stepping into that purpose of what people tell me that I should do, which is coach and speak, my mission every day is to read, write, speak, and influence another every day to do the same. It's my mission statement, my personal life mission statement. Not even my business, my personal life mission statement. So I read every day, I write every day, and I speak every day. And if you think about what a coach does, you've got to be able to have conversations with yourself, be prepared for helping someone. You've got to be able to put your word out so people can read it, and it can be, you can actually influence more than just one person at a time. And you got to speak, because speakers speak, and repetition is the mother of skill. So that's what I actually do every day to be preparedness mentally, to be physically ready to help people. Read 5 hours a day, 4.5 hours a day. Since 2012 I've been doing that. It's 2018 now, so 6 years. If you do the math, that's 1460 times 3 would be 432, 864, 8,640 hours, which is 1 full year of my life, because there's 8,600 hours in a year. I just did that math without even trying, because I'm no genius. I'm always reading and thinking. So it's like a muscle, right? Now I look like an arrogant asshole. All right, you guys have a great day.